Did you get a notification on your phone when this video went live? Probably not, since 95.3% of my viewers aren't subscribed. Anyways, in today's world we are constantly distracted by thousands of things. We receive emails every second, there are controversial social media conversations going on 24/7, and anyone can call us from anywhere in the world at any second. Because we are being constantly distracted, we can't focus on the things that really matter. So in today's video, let's dive into the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. As the author himself says, one of the most valuable skills in our economy is becoming increasingly rare. If you master this skill, you will achieve extraordinary results. So, what is deep work? Basically, deep work means that you are doing focused and uninterrupted work with no distractions. Point number 1. Why is deep work important? There are two critical things that deep work allows you to do. 1. Learn and master new skills, and 2. Apply the skills to increase your output. In the information economy, technology and best practices become outdated quickly. If you want to stay relevant over decades, you have to learn new skills. This requires focus. Once you have learned a new skill, you have to do something useful with it. Here comes a simple formula. High quality work produced equals time spent times intensity of focus. For example, if you spend 8 hours coding a website, but at the same time you are watching Netflix on your other screen, high quality work produced would be only 4 hours. If you only focus on coding the website, high quality work produced is 8 hours. Point number 2. Deep work is difficult. As mentioned at the beginning of the video, we are bombarded with all kinds of stuff all the time. We receive emails, get phone calls, use different kinds of apps that send us notifications every minute, and so on. Newport outlines 3 major ways that get our focus out of deep work, which are open floor plans, instant communication, and social media. Open floor plans are great for collaboration, but they are continuously distracting us. You hear all the conversations that you don't even want to hear, and even just one person can disrupt plenty of people. Thanks to modern technology, people can disrupt your work all the time. Anyone might call you any second, you will receive text messages all the time, you keep on looking at your email in case someone has sent you something important, etc. Because of this, we can't focus deeply on our work, instead we become human network routers. Especially social media keeps on distracting us these days. Twitter has new controversial topics going on 24/7, Instagram is full of amazing posts that we just have to go check out, and we can't go to bed at night because we have to laugh at Reddit memes first. The problem with social media is that it feels like we are doing something productive. When we are answering emails, it feels like we are doing something important. Not like all of the emails aren't important, but everybody can answer emails. Instead, we should focus our deep work on more meaningful stuff. Deep work moves you meaningfully towards happiness and fulfillment because deep work is usually used for problems that yield the largest rewards. Now that we know what deep work is and why it is important, we can move on to different ways to make deep work practices part of our everyday life. The first step is to choose a time when you are going to do deep work. Instead of just trying to do deep work when needed, you should make it a ritual. If it becomes a ritual, you don't need willpower to do it. Newport mentions that there is a limit of how much deep work you can do each day, and it depends on how much you have practiced it already. In my opinion, this isn't true at all. As a student, I can tell you that I can do 24 hours of deep work a day when I notice that I have a deadline tomorrow and I haven't even started. Just kidding, but beware that when you are starting to focus on deep work, you won't be able to do it as long as those who have practiced it for a long time. There are 4 types of schedules mentioned in the book, which you should try out to see what best fits your lifestyle. Number 1. Remove as many shallow work tasks as possible and focus nearly all your time on deep work. For example, don't spend too much time answering emails, instead focus on analyzing data. The advantage of this is the fact that deep work becomes your default working style, meaning that you don't have to separately prepare for it. Number 2. Choose specific times for deep work. The book says that you should focus on deep work at least one full day to get the maximum out of deep work. So for example, choose that you will focus every Saturday for deep work. Or pick up a day once a month, like the first of every month you are going to focus on deep work. Number 3. Choose a specific time for each day. This is a great way to make deep work a habit. For example, you could decide to do only deep work for 2 hours every time you get to work. After you have done that, you can do the shallow work tasks. Number 4. Do deep work whenever you are able to do it. This is the most flexible one since you are basically doing deep work whenever possible. But since you are focusing on deep work only whenever you can, it won't turn into a habit and you might not get the maximum potential out of it. You should also plan out your days to make sure you have enough time for deep work. There are a couple of examples in the book, like scheduling when you are going to use the internet. If you decide that on Mondays you are going to use the internet from 6 PM to 9 PM, then you should avoid completely using it outside these times. Another example is to plan out everything you have to get done throughout the day. You should plan what tasks you need to complete and when, estimate what is the deep work complexity of each task, and review how accurate your plans were at the end of each day to make your plans more accurate in the future. If you have days that don't really have any deep work at all, try to replace those tasks with deeper work. As I joked earlier, we are all able to do 24 hours of deep work when we notice that the deadline is coming. Because of this, you should always set deadlines that force you to concentrate on your tasks. Newport recommends estimating how long you would normally schedule time for the task, and then for your deadline, cut down that time drastically. Another important point is to turn your environment capable of deep work. Try to create a space where you only go to do deep work. For example, every time you have to study, don't do it in your bedroom, go to the library. Get rid of distractions. When you start to work, throw your phone out of the window. Well, at least make it silent and put it far away from you, so you won't check it every minute. If you want to go extreme, you could also try quitting some social media platforms completely. If you think that you spend way too much time scrolling Facebook and there isn't even anything valuable to get from it, try quitting it for 30 days and see what happens. I personally quit using Facebook, and I can highly recommend these browser extensions that limit the usage of different platforms. Now it is time to train your focus. As mentioned earlier, the more you practice deep work, the longer you are able to do it. There are a couple of techniques that Newport recommends. 1. Become bored. Look around yourself while in a train station and you will see all the people staring at their phones. Whenever there is even a short idle moment, we start to scroll social media so we don't become bored. When we are always filling low stimuli moments with high stimuli activities, our brains aren't able to tolerate boredom anymore. Because of this, we won't get the work done even if we set time aside for deep work unless we strengthen our focus muscles. Define metrics of success. Create a clear metric that you can track to see how successful your deep work practices are. This helps you to actually do your work. Instead of wondering if you're doing enough work, you can track something like how many words have you written in an hour to see if you're progressing well enough. The last point is to make the most of your deep work time. It is completely useless to plan and have all kinds of schedules and trackers if you're not taking any action. Focus on what is important and start with the most important task. Track useful metrics. The book suggests using leading metrics, meaning metrics like words written or new ideas that you have come up with. Then you can see in real time how well you have spent your time doing deep work. It is also important to keep these metrics visible. This will motivate you to keep up your work, and you can also see your successes. For example, you could mark on a whiteboard how many hours you have been working today. Say no. Learn to say no to things that aren't important, in this case meaning shallow work. Don't go into meetings and travels that are not important for your goals. Create accountability. Analyze your deep work to know how well you live up to your goals and to improve in the future. Things like monthly, weekly and yearly reviews are good for this. For example, every Sunday you can check how your week has been and then try to make a plan to improve next week. So those are the main points of the book Deep Work by Cal Newport. Let's quickly recap the video. Deep work is important because it lets you learn and master new skills, and most importantly, it lets you apply the skills to increase your output. High quality work produced equals to time spent times intensity of focus. Deep work is difficult. Open floor plans make us distracted. Thanks to modern technology, anyone can contact us at any second, and especially social media keeps us distracted. Instead of doing deep work, we waste our time on shallow work because we feel like we are doing important things. Make deep work part of your schedule by trying out all of these 4 plans and see what works best for you. Remove as many shallow work tasks as possible, choose specific days for deep work, choose specific times for each day, or do deep work whenever you are able to do it. Make your environment capable of deep work, set deadlines that require you to focus on your tasks, and start reviewing your work yearly, monthly, and weekly. If you found this video helpful and want to support the channel, please leave a like and comment down below. On the screen you can find some other of my book summaries. Also, if you have any book recommendations, leave them in the comments and I'll make sure to check them out. Thank you for watching, I'll see you next week. Bye.